It's been clear in the recent polls, Zohran Mamdani is the leader in the mayor's race, with just 2 days to go until early voting begins. He delivered familiar themes in his pitch to voters in our NY1 debate.
My campaign is going to deliver 200,000 new affordable homes across the 5 boroughs, all while freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. What we are looking at right now is the possibility of the place that we know and love becoming a museum of where working-class people used to be able to live.
I was out at LaGuardia Community College last night. At one point, I had a brief conversation with State Senator Mike Gianaris. He had a prime seat at the debate. If you look back there, there he is. He's up early with us, a supporter of Zohran Mamdani, offering his perspective. We've got a representative from each of the campaigns joining us this morning. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning, Pat.
Your scorecard on Mamdani's debate night.
I think when you look at the debate as a whole, one thing becomes very clear. There's one candidate who's talking about what he wants to do for the future, one candidate who's addressing the needs of the people, and the others are mired decades in the past in some cases. Andrew Cuomo's talking about what he did or didn't do as governor, the scandals that affected him, but what is his agenda for this city? What is he proposing to help the people who are suffering and struggling to afford their lives here in this city? And Curtis Sliwa was Curtis Sliwa. He's entertaining, he makes his points, but he's desperately out of touch with the people of this city. So I think Zohran Mamdani was the only candidate that was talking about the affordability crisis in a way that people understand and appreciate, whether it's childcare, mass transit, housing. He was putting forward real proposals to address those problems, and nobody else was.
Cuomo in particular, but Sliwa somewhat, was going at Mamdani's inexperience. Was Mamdani successful at knocking that down or turning it around on the other candidates?
Well, look, Zohran Mamdani is young, and he's had a relative few years in government compared to Andrew Cuomo, who's been doing it for most of his life. But sometimes that's a good thing. And when you're at a point where you want change, you want a fresh style of thought, you want someone who's not going to look at things the way they've always been and say, well, let's just keep doing it that way because there's no other choice, but who's going to peel it apart and say, why not have free buses? Why not let people use a public good without having to pay for it? We don't ask them to pay a firefighter when they come to their house to deal with a fire, write them a check on their way out the door, because that's important to the public. And the mass transit's no different than that.
This has been a campaign, the Mamdani campaign, that has been very effective with its visual messaging, its social media messaging. Mamdani showed up on the bus last night. I don't know how many people realized that he showed up on a bus, but does that play well into what his supporters are looking for?
Well, they realize it now because you're telling them.
Well, there it is, yeah.
But he's very effective at communicating his policies in a way that people remember and understand. I think that's another example. We worked together on getting the free bus pilot that we had a couple years ago. I got it passed in the Senate, he in the Assembly. It was wildly successful. One free line in each borough, ridership up dramatically, assaults against bus drivers down dramatically. And there's no reason we shouldn't talk about expanding it, and I'm glad that he's pushing that forward.
Mamdani, there was a moment of vulnerability when he was asked about the housing ballot questions, and he simply said, I do not have an answer there. I have not taken a position. The audience groaned. The other candidates pounced on that. Should he have taken a position by now? It seems like we're at the 11th hour and these are important initiatives.
Well, they are important. I think he's grappling with the fact that as mayor, he's going to have competing tensions as it relates to that issue. The city council is very much against those proposals, and the people who want faster, more streamlined development are in favor of them. He has his own plan outside of the ballot proposal, which is going to build 200,000 units of affordable housing, upzone in the areas around mass transit hubs. He's got his own agenda as it relates to housing that's unrelated to that piece of it. And so I don't think that people are going to hold it against him if a ballot proposal that he had nothing to do with, that got on the ballot, that is contested on both sides, is something that he says let the people decide about.
As far as the other candidates up on that stage, what stood out to you either in Andrew Cuomo's debate performance or Curtis Sliwa's performance?
I think when I watch Andrew Cuomo debating, all I hear is, I've done this before and I've done it in ways that you may like, you may not like, so let me do this too. But I don't hear what he's going to do specifically in terms of policy for people. And by the way, if you ask people what their opinion of Andrew Cuomo is in his governorship, I don't think it's very good. So I don't think it's a great message for him to step forward and say, I've done this for years, I've done it for decades. At one point he said that the state always screws the city without recognizing that he was the governor of the state for over a decade. So the implication is that as governor, he was screwing the city. Now he wants to be the mayor of the city. It doesn't wash.
The question everybody always asks in the spin room, in the hallways, the day after is, did one candidate move the needle? Did you see significant movement among the supporters of each of these three candidates?
I don't think so. I mean, we all follow it maniacally. We're 2 days from early voting. I'm not sure. This is not a sporting event. You know, the Knicks won. That's a good as it relates to sporting events. But a debate is about educating the public so they can make their decision. I don't think the dynamic of the race has changed very much as it relates to what happened last night. And with Zohran winning, that's probably a good thing.
All right. Thanks for coming on this morning to talk to us.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.